Meeting at home plate with the umpires, and today we have 6 umpires since this is a National League Championship game. Augie Donatelli will be behind home plate. Ken Burkhart, people in Cincinnati will remember him from a close play at the plate back in the 1970 series, will be at first base. Doug Harvey down at second base. Bill Williams at third base. John Kibler out in left field. And Harry Wendelstedt, Major League wins, 19 this year. In attempting his 20th, he was hit on the elbow by a line drive off the bat of John Milner and had to leave in the first inning of that game in his try for number 20. On the other hand, for the Cincinnati Reds, Don Gullett. We said something about his hepatitis. Gullett with a 9-10 record. Those of you who do not follow Cincinnati might wonder why a man with a losing record. Well, they did not detect that Gullett had hepatitis until he was nearly over his case of hepatitis. And he was very weak much of the season and very ineffective, but the last month, Gullett has been something else again. As Willie Stargell of the Pirates says, when Gullett is right, he throws wall-to-wall heat. Well, Rose goes back to his dugout. Burden hangs on there with the umpires. Cincinnati, of course, took 3 straight from the Pirates in 1970. The big red machine stalled in 1971. And the first time that a championship playoff in either league has gone more than 3 games, the Pirates won last year over the San Francisco Giants, then went on to the World Series, and in that fine 7-game series with Steve Blass, today's starting pitcher, they went 7 games and dethroned the Baltimore Orioles. Now, later on this afternoon, of course, it is Oakland, winners of the West of the American League, Detroit, winners of the East in the American League, and you'll see that also here on NBC. And now, Pittsburgh takes the field. Willie Stargell will be at first. Dave Cash at second. Gene Alley at short. Richie Hebner at third. Stennett in left. Al Oliver in center. Roberto Clemente in right. Sanguillen behind the plate. And Steve Blass will be the pitcher. And now they rise here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh for the singing of the national anthem by a hometown boy, Jackie Heller. Given you the Pittsburgh defense. Now let us give you the Cincinnati starting lineup. Leading it off, leading the major leagues in base hits this year. Very disappointed that he did not get 200 hits, but Pete Rose, for the 8th year, a 300 hitter, will play left field. Joe Morgan, Sandy was talking about him, very important down at second base, an acquisition from Houston. Bobby Tolan coming off the Achilles tendon. Injury is out in center field. Johnny Bench behind the plate, batting cleanup. Led the league in home runs and RBIs. Tony Perez, you may not have heard too much of him, but he knocked in 90 runs this year. He'll be at first base batting 5th. The steady Dennis Menke will play at third base and bat 6th. Cesar Geronimo will be out in right field. Strong-arm young right fielder, hit 275. Darrell Cheney, a switch-hitting shortstop, bats 8th. And young Don Gullett, only 21 years old, he's won 9 and lost 10, will be the pitcher. But now on the mound now is Steve Blass. And here's where we call in you, Sandy.
Thank you, Jim. Well, Blass has got pretty good stuff. He's not an overpowering pitcher. His fastball is a sinker type of fastball. The ball goes down, and he throws a slider, which would be the opposite sort of pitch from the sinker. The sinker breaking into the right-handers, the slider going away from the right-hander. This year, he's stopped really throwing very many straight changes. He's throwing a slow curve and using it as his change of pace. Steve usually has pretty fair control. His control is the big factor in whether he pitches a good ball game or gets into trouble. He can at times get into control trouble. When he's right, he'll be on that outside corner most of the time, all day, and he's very tough when he's got his good control.
You saw that big crowd. The record here is 51,378. Set last October 13th in the only night game in World Series history. They expect more than that this afternoon. 1,000 standing room only seats went on sale just moments ago. Here's Rose hitting .307. Switch hitter. Better hitter for the average from the right side, foul back, but has more power from the left side. Rose, as we said, led the major leagues in base hits with 198. He went 0 for 4 in the final game of the season. That disappointed him. He has had 5 200-hit years and one of the 6th. Going away, it's 1-1 to Rose. The leadoff batter with Joe Morgan on deck and Rich Hebner, the third baseman, in on the edge of the infield, down at third base. There's Joe Morgan. This is to short left field. Stennett is over. Alley is over. Rennie Stennett says he's got it. Rose goes to the opposite field. That'll bring up Joe Morgan. Well, they're split even among the Cincinnati Reds. Who should be the most valuable player if indeed one of these two men gets it? Joe Morgan or Johnny Bench? Morgan, 292, 16 home runs, 73 RBIs. Led the league in walks with 115, led the majors in runs with 122, and he simply tore up this Pittsburgh club. He had 370 against them, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, scored 12 times, he got 10 walks. And there's a drive to right field, driving Clemente back. At the warning track, looking up, and it is gone, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati, and Morgan continues to tear them apart.
Incidentally, that's the other thing about Joe Morgan. He's on base a lot. He can run well. He steals bases, but he's got pretty good power. I know I can remember back when he was with Houston a time or two that he took me downtown, and here you see it again. Joe short, but very stocky and strong and quick, very quick with the bat. Here you see the swing in slow motion, and he's got full extension of his arms and a good cutout.
Back live, there's Bobby Tolan. Back off not 1 but 2 Achilles tendon tears to hit .283, 8 home runs, and stole 42 bases. In mentioning Morgan, I forgot to say he has stolen 58 bases. 1-0. Big change way high and outside. This telecast presented by Authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of the game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looked like a good slider from Steve Blass. 1-0 on Morgan's first pitch home run. Hicks on this change-up, breaking pitch. Over comes Oliver in one-handed. Johnny Bench, 40 home runs. 11 home runs in the month of September, as many as the entire Pirate team in the month of September. 270 on the year. Bench hit 5 home runs and drove in 10 runs playing the Pirates during the regular season. And Blass is changing off speed a lot, Sandy.
Yes, he is, Jim. I wonder if possibly he's having a little trouble with the elbow where he was hit, or maybe he just feels that he has to throw off-speed pitches to a lot of Cincinnati's hitters.
Deep, back goes Oliver, warning track, taps his glove, has it for the third out. But 1 run on Joe Morgan's home run. That was the only hit. No errors, none left. At the end of the first half inning of play, Cincinnati won. The Pirates coming to bat. They'll try to, of course, yet to score.
Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference. In Chrysler Corporation cars. What began in outer space is now right down to earth. Chrysler Corporation, the automotive company that helped put the first American in space, now puts some of the things it learned into its cars. Step into the start of the new age of automotive electronics. Electronic ignition for up to 35% more starting voltage than conventional systems. Now standard on all Chrysler Corporation cars built in this country. electronic voltage regulator to help increase battery life. Electronic digital clock, available on some models. So accurate, you can set your watch by it. Electronics.
Extra care in engineering.
It makes a difference in Dodge, Chrysler, and Plymouth. Discover the difference. Drive one.
Young Don Gullett warms up. Here is the starting lineup for the Pirates. Leading it off is Rennie Stennett, playing out in left field. In center field is Al Oliver. In right field, those 3,000 hits, what a man, Roberto Clemente. Willie Stargell is in a slump. Stargell, nevertheless, will still bat cleanup. He had 112 RBIs, 33 home runs. Fine young catcher Manny Sanguillen behind the plate. Former Rookie of the Year, Richie Hebner's at third base, batting sixth. Dave Cash, who's lost a lot of time to a broken thumb in military duty, plays second and bats seventh, normally a cleanup batter. Gene Alley is the shortstop. And Steve Blass, of course, is the pitcher. Leading it off, Stennett hitting .286, 3 home runs, 30 RBIs. The face, young Don Gullett, 21 years old, out of Lynn, Kentucky. Stennett, the man with the bat that Bill Burden trying to find some place for him to play. He plays nearly everybody. Catches the outside corner, does Gullett. It's strike one.
Jim, if you talk about Gullett, you've got to talk about his fastball. He's overpoweringly quick. He throws very hard. This year, he's come up with a new slider, which has helped him quite a bit. In the past, he didn't get his curveball over very well, and the slider may be the big pitch for him today, because I think the fellas in this lineup he's going to have to get out are the two left-handers in front of Clemente, Oliver and Stargell.
1 ball, 1 strike, and there's some of that heat that Stargell was talking about, wall-to-wall heat, but it's down low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Stennett is one of 3 men who spent most of the season on the bench, and yet all 3 of the men, Clines and Davalier, the other 2, collected more than 100 hits. Burden liked that. Line drive, base hit, right back to the box. So the tying run is on at first base, and Al Oliver, .312 hitter, 12 home runs, 89 RBIs. Young man who wanted to be played or traded at the end of last season. He has been played out in center field. He is a line drive hitter. Even his outs seem to be line drive. Makes good contact.
Oliver's just a good hitter, and this is the situation where he doesn't give in to the pitcher very much, even though he's a left-hander, and Gullett could need that slider. He's a good fastball hitter, and it takes a breaking ball pitcher from a left-hander to get Oliver out. And that's where that new pitch may help him, but he's got a tough situation here.
Fastball is fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-0 the score on Morgan's home run. There's Gullett, 9 and 10, 3.93, but don't let that fool you. In the last month, he has been an exceptional young pitcher. Change, it goes over the glove of bench, and down to second base goes the very fast Stennett.
It looked like Don tried to throw the curveball there, threw it too hard, got away from him up high, and went off Bench's glove. It's a little tough on the catcher when he's looking for that curveball down low, and you throw it that high and that hard.
Charge a pass ball to Johnny Bench. Oliver with a count of 2-1. Stennett with speed is on his way around third base. Tolan falls down. It'll go to the wall. It's 1-1. Oliver's going to third base. Here's the relay and the throw. He's safe.
Jim, and it looks like these Pittsburgh Pirates have just come out mad. It was a line drive, and the center fielder Tolan just slipped. He wasn't even close to the ball when he slipped. Rose picked it up, got the ball in, but Oliver, who runs very well, beat the play easily to third base.
1-1 the score. The go-ahead run at third base, and Roberto Clemente stepping in. Clemente has been to bat 1 time since collecting his 3,000th hit. That was as a pinch hitter. He did not get a base hit. He has 3,000 even, 1 of 11 men. Fastball for a strike. Bucky Anderson, manager of the Reds, thought this would be a high-scoring game. Bill Burden did not think it'd be a high-scoring game. Manager of the Pirates. 1 ball, 1 strike to Clemente.
Jim, and I think Clemente is probably one of the best off-speed hitters in baseball. He hits the breaking pitches, the changeup very well, and also opposite field hitter in baseball. Tremendous power to the other field, to right field, to right center. And Gullett will probably go at the fastball, and I wouldn't doubt that Clemente will be looking for a pitch he can hit off the other way.
Well, Tolan is playing him swing around to the right. This is foul to the right, down the line. Tolan is in right center field for the right-handed hitting Clemente. Reds 1, Pirates 1. First inning. That fastball gets him at the knees. Clemente argues with Augie Donatelli, the plate umpire, but he is out. And here comes Willie Stargell.
A very big pitch right there for Don Gullett. Gullett has the kind of stuff that could give Stargell a lot of trouble. Stargell, his big problem is the high fastball. He chases it a little bit and doesn't handle it too well. But if Gullett can throw that high heat, Willie may be in for a tough afternoon.
Infield is in as Stargell fouls it away. Oliver's at third base with 1 out. Now listen to this. Stargell, despite his 33 home runs, 112 RBIs, has been 4 for 44 since September the 15th. Had 1 home run in the last month. And no RBI since September the 14th. Drive to right field. Over goes Geronimo. It's past him. It's 2-1 the Pirates, and Stargell goes to second base with a double, breaking the slump, putting the Pirates ahead.
And Stargell got that pitch and hit it well. I'm not sure whether it was the fastball or not. It looks like Geronimo jumped a little too soon here. He wasn't quite back to the wall when he jumped. I think he mistimed his leap. I don't know if he could have gotten it or if he ever could have gotten there, but the ball was hit very hard, a line drive right off the wall. Willie Stargell, who'd been having his troubles for a long time in the playoff last year, has finally come through with the big hit.
Well, Cincinnati has got the bullpen working. Number 34 down there is Pedro Bourbon, warming up, as young Don Gullett is in real trouble. Gullett, to go back a couple of years, as a 19-year-old, saved the second and third ball games for the Reds when the Reds swept the Pirates in 3 straight games. He worked 3 2/3 innings in that playoff series, gave up 1 hit and no runs. Today, in a third of an inning thus far, he's given up a single, a triple, and a double, and is down 2-1.
Jim, I would have to say that Don Gullett does not have his good fastball yet today. The fact that he's thrown the fastball and hasn't gotten anybody to hit it up in the air. They've all been line drives. Maybe he has the good velocity, but evidently the ball is not moving. A fellow with his kind of fastball will get a lot of fly balls, pop-ups hit, and so far there's been nothing but line drives.
First pitch is down low to Sanguillen, and very seldom pitch thrown anywhere does Sanguillen take it. He is usually up there to swing. Manny, after 3 straight years of hitting .300, fell off by 2 points this year, hit .298. Drive, second base, Morgan traps it, goes on to first base for the second out as Stargell goes to third. That'll bring up Richie Hebner. Hebner, former Rookie of the Year, hitting at .300. As a matter of fact, on the final day of the season, when Bill Burden found that Hebner was hitting .300, he said, "You're out of the lineup." Finished 1972 hitting .300. Pirates 2, Reds 1. We're in the bottom of the first of, well, if our championship series remains this way, we've got quite a series going. That is foul, glove behind first base by Tony Perez. Gullett, this year, before today, pitched 8 1/3 innings against the Reds and never could handle them. Earned run average 6.75. One strike pitch, off-speed breaking ball, and just misses outside. 1-1. Stargell standing on at third. He got a little upset the other day when they were talking about the fact he is 4 for 44. He says, talk about the other fellas in their hitting, not about me not hitting. Drive, base hit, it is 3-1. Hebner drives in the run. base hit off young Don Gullett. Bourbon continues to work in the Cincinnati bullpen. 2 out, and here is Dave Cash hitting at .282. Fine second baseman. Bill Mazeroski retires after this year. He has been Mr. Second Base for the Pirates for many years. Cash has taken over. Normally the leadoff batter. Today, Burton has dropped into number 7 in the order. Center field. Tolan is over. Looks like he's got the room. Waves off Geronimo and has it. And Gullett and the Reds are out of the inning. But 3-run score on 4 base hits. There were no errors and 1 man left. We've gone through the first inning here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Pirates 3, the Reds 1.
Hey, 2 guys are out to get your car. First, it's winter. He wants to freeze you to death. Then comes summer. He wants to boil you over. But you can beat them both with Prestone 2 Winter-Summer Formula. Fights winter freeze, fights summer boil over. Prestone 2 with its patented new anti-corrosion formula. If you can't trust Prestone, who can you trust? Sorry, boys. No riders.
If you have dandruff, you could wash your hair day after day after day. Or you could use Breck One. Breck One is a dandruff shampoo. It doesn't stop working the day you stop washing. Breck One keeps working between shampoos to help keep dandruff from coming back. Breck One works day after day after day. Use Breck One dandruff shampoo regularly. It fights dandruff for days.
Cincinnati's coach at third base is Alex Grammas. Over at first base is George Sugar, and if the first inning is any indication, they're going to be very busy today, all the coaches. 3-1 the score. Steve Last did not have that kind of good inning himself in the first inning. Morgan hit a home run over the right field fence. Tolan's out was a line drive to Oliver in center, very deep, and then Bench hit one deep. Here's Tony Perez. And Perez has a base hit. And that'll bring up Dennis Menke. Didn't even have the chance to Teddy Perez on the season at .283 with 21 home runs and 90 RBIs. Here's Menke, a .235 hitter during the regular season.
Jim, and that rain seems to have made this artificial surface in the outfield even quicker than it is normally. It looked like on that ball it almost got by Stennett. A routine ball hit right at him, so that may be a big factor in the game today. Anything hit between the outfielders, it looks like it has a good chance to go all the way to the wall.
Perez being held on at first by Stargell in this 3-1 ball game at the top of the second. About 3/4 there. That sidearm delivery. It's a strike on the inside corner to the right-handed Menke. Up and in, 2-1. Menke, a part of that big trade that the Reds and Astros pulled off. The Astros are happy with their part of the trade that has Tommy Helms down at second base and Lee May on at first. And, of course, the Reds are ecstatic about the play of Joe Morgan, and Dennis Menke has been a very solid performer for them this year at third base. 2 balls, 1 strike to Menke. Perez on at first. Center field. Hal Oliver started back, now must come in, and is there in plenty of time. That'll bring up young Cesar Geronimo, the right fielder. .275 on the year, 4 home runs, 29 RBIs.
Jim, and the Cincinnati organization is really high on this young man. You talked to Sparky Anderson about him. He said he's got all the potential in the world. He runs very well. He says he can run as fast as Tolan can. He says he's not as good a base runner yet. He says he's got the best arm in baseball. And that takes in a lot of good arms. So he says he may be a year or 2 away, but remains to be seen next year when he plays a full year.
Talking about the best arm in baseball, how about the fellow out in right field right now?
Well, that makes me wonder a little bit, too.
Roberto Clemente. Geronimo never hit for a high average in the minors or in the majors. He was with Houston last year, came on that trend. Only was a .220 hitter last year, but he's upped that considerably. A .275 hitter this year. Has one strike on him, and that's outside from Steve Blass. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pirates 3, Reds 1. We are in the top of the second of Game 1 of the National League Championship. Later on this afternoon, Detroit at Oakland. In the American League playoffs, also here on NBC. 2-1. The lights are on here. The sun is trying to break through. Miserable day yesterday. Took no batting practice this morning because of the condition of the field. That's 3-1. Geronimo steps out and looks down at Gramus. And the number 8 batter coming up. Let's see what Perez is doing on 3-1. He's staying right there, and he's swinging away, and he pops it up. And Gene Alley, the shortstop, and now Dave Cash. It is Alley backing in the short center field, and that's the second out. And I'll bring up switch hitter Darrell Cheney. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Pirates. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for the Reds. Cheney, a .250 hitter during the year. Sandy, he operates on that outside corner most of the afternoon.
Yes, he will, Jim, to both the left-hand hitters and the right-hand hitters, especially the right-hand hitters. He'll try and stay out there, but I noticed that with the left-handers, he likes to try and hit the outside corner with his slider.
1 ball, 1 strike. And look what we have down in the bullpen. Luke Walker and Bob Johnson warming up, and maybe it is that Blass isn't feeling that well with that elbow problem of his. He's got a 2-run lead, but we have 2 pitchers warming up for the Pirates. This is punched foul off to the left. 1-2. Morgan home. Pardon me, Sandy.
I'm thinking that possibly, as cold as it is, that Bill Verdon might want to get the bullpen just a little bit warm early in the game so that if he had to make a change quickly, it wouldn't take him that long to have his pitchers loose, because it looks like Blass is throwing well enough.
Left field, Stennett is there. And that's it. After giving up the leadoff single to Perez, Menke, Geronimo, and Cheney go down 1, 2, 3. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We now go to the last of the second inning in Game 1 of the National League Championships. Pirates 3, Cincinnati Reds 1.
I wouldn't use an antiperspirant if I didn't have to, but I have to. I perspire. It's just that a lot of antiperspirants smell artificial. But not this new one. It's new Right Guard Natural Scent Antiperspirant. It smells light, clean, like after a shower, and it helps keep me dry all day. New Right Guard Natural Scent Antiperspirant. I like the way it works. I like the way it smells.
Gillette makes a better double edge now than the one your father used. The smoothest edge we can put on a blade, for the smoothest shave we can put on your face. The Platinum Plus blade. And someday, Gillette will make even a better blade for your son. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We made the first blade, and we're still the first blade. Gillette. Platinum Plus.
In Pittsburgh, Jim Simpson with Sandy Koufax. Standing by in Oakland, California, Kurt Gotti with Tony Kubek. And after this game is over, they'll bring you the Game 1 of the American League Championships, the Tigers and A's. Gene Alley will lead it off in the last of the second for the Pirates, who lead 3-1. Alley and I seem to be spending all of our time, Sandy, talking about his hometown of Richmond, which for the second time this year apparently is in danger of being flooded along that James River down there. And Gene Alley is, as we said, born and raised and still lives in Richmond, Virginia. 248 is average. Won a couple of Golden Gloves, but knee and arm problems have slowed him down recently. Line drive on the ground on a couple of hops there to Perez, who flags it down, and Alley's quickly out. That'll bring up Steve Blass. Pretty good hitter. 183. 3 RBIs on the year. Blass had a terrible championship series last year against the San Francisco Giants. Was a big disappointment. And then, of course, he changed that all around in the World Series. That's strike one. Oh, 2 to Blass with the leadoff batter Stennett on deck. Bob Moose tomorrow for the Pirates. Frankie Anderson says he will tell us later. Going to go for him. That ball, and look at that catch by Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. Well, there's fielding gem number 1 of the championship series.
Blass hit that ball very hard. You watch Rose here. He had to really leave his feet fully stretched out in the air to catch that ball. What a great catch by Pete Rose in left field. You may see as good a catch, but I don't know if you'll ever see any better one.
Well, that saves Gullett a lot of trouble, because here's Stennett, who started it all for the Pirates in the first with a single up the middle. Later scored ahead of Al Oliver's triple. This is right field, foul, and in the seats. This is down the right field line. Over quickly is Geronimo. And, wow, apparently all right, but there's a chain fence there by the Pirate bullpen that Geronimo ran right into. They've been squeegeeing off the field all morning. Pete Rose out at left field is a little wet, but I think he'll take the catch and give up the discomfort. Fastball inside. Stennett. Ball 1.
Jim, I know that looked like a fastball. He threw it awfully hard, but I have a feeling that that's Gullett's slider. And if it is, it's the hardest one I've ever seen.
Cheney throws out Stennett, and Gullett, the young 21-year-old, has a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. Now we've gone through 2 innings of Game 1 of the National League Championship here at Three River Stadium with the score: the Pirates 3 and the Cincinnati Reds 1.
So you found a new pad and you're moving your stuff. Well, that's okay. This car's enough. Plymouth Space Duster. You can get a fold-down seat here in the back. Gives you 6.5 feet of space to pack. Whatever you got to pack in the back. Fully carpeted. Seat folds up, too. With a roof that opens on a country ride, don't cost much extra. Lets the sun inside. Crank shut, too, nice and tight, because the sun don't shine very much at night. Of course, everybody knows that. Plymouth Space Duster. You can get more out of it, because you can get more into it. Plymouth Duster. Extra care in engineering. It makes the difference.
Well, this is a situation Steve Blass should like, Sandy. He is starting off with the pitcher Gullett, which ordinarily would be a rather easy out, and he would, with 1 out, go back to work on Pete Rose and Joe Morgan. But Gullett has pretty good average on the year, 211. Just looking all the way, and it's strike 1.
Jim, it is a big man to get out here. The top of the Red lineup likes to run. They have good speed. They're good on the bases. If you can get that first out, you take the bunt away, stolen base a little bit. It's a big out for the pitcher to get.
2 strikes to Gullett. The very wet Pete Rose on deck.
So speaking about the Reds running, I don't know if they will now that they're 2 runs down, but their scouting report seems to be that Manny Sanguillen's arm is sore.
This may be trouble, and goes right under the glove of Gene Alley. Over the bag, Alley showed pretty good range for a man that's had knee problems to get over there. And that's the 3rd base hit.
You know, I started to say the Reds feel that Sanguillen's arm may not be as good as it has been in the past, and they were ready to run to find out whether or not he could throw. Their scouting report said that 41 of the last 57 men who have stolen against Sanguillen have been successful, and that's not a very good percentage for a catcher as good as Manny is.
Well, here's Rose. He flied to left, but he also made a great catch in left. Edner in on the infield turf. Ball is hit slightly off the fist, looked like. Short left center field. Oliver waves everybody away, and Rose is out. He's gone the other way now twice. That'll bring up Joe Morgan. Last time up, he hit the first pitch for a home run. Now Sparky Anderson says, take a look at Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Bobby Toller. If in the lineup you find that between the three of them they have 5 base hits, you will normally find that we have won the ball game. Thus far, they've only been up once, of course, but there's just 1 base hit, and that's Morgan's home run. Ball 1 to Morgan with Bobby Tolan on deck. Pirates 3, Reds 1, top of the 3rd. There's a strike, 1-1. Morgan, we were telling you before he hit the home run in the first inning, has had a great year against the Pirates. 370, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 12 runs, and 10 walks. And then as soon as we said that, in this game, he popped a home run. Drive down the right field line, but hooking foul and off the bullpen wall. 1-2. With a crowd of 50,000 plus kind of inhaled rather deeply there. Most of them were Pirate fans and thought we did have a tie game. The balls, 2 strikes. Both bullpens now inactive. Changes on that, and he hits it high, not too deep. Clemente is right there. Step or 2 in, and the basket catch. Two out with Gullett at first, and here is Tolan, who hit a change-up last time up, and line to Oliver on the dead run in center field. Left field, Stennett is there, backpedaling a little bit, and he has it. Well, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and pitcher Don Gullett left on at first base. We go to the last of the 3rd inning here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Pirates 3, Reds 1.
For 700 years, the dhows have sailed on monsoon winds from Asia to the east coast of Africa in search of gold, silver, and ivory. Those that made it through the storms and rough winds celebrated. Times have changed, but the legend of these waters hasn't. One captain welcomes the other, and the celebration begins.
Hey, come on!
It's life they're celebrating. Nobody takes it for granted out here. Nobody should anywhere. Because it's one time around for every man, and you gotta live it with all the gusto you can. When you're out of Schlitz, you're out of beer.
Joe Namath on your left, Bob Greasy on your right. Namath, of course, the quarterback for the Jets. Greasy for the Dolphins. They play each other tomorrow. Miami, New York at New York, and out in Cleveland, that's Lenny Dawson on your left, the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's Leroy Kelly, one of the premier runners in the National Football League of the Browns on your right. And another matchup, and these are the games that you'll see. Check your newspaper for the listing of the game in your area and the time it'll be on the air. Those are the games, and those are some of the matchups. And remember, right after Football tomorrow, Game 2 of the American League Championships, Detroit at Oakland. 3-1, the Pirates. Here's Al Oliver, who tripled to center field. Last time up, drove in a run and later scored himself. Change up breaking ball, and it's strike one.
Jim, I think Don Gullett may have to go with his curveball just a little bit more. Both his fastball and slider are thrown very hard. It's giving the Pirates a chance to look for the fastball and still be ready to hit the slider. And even his curveball, I think he threw a little bit too hard early in the ball game. Now, if he takes something off that changes speeds a little bit, he may be a little bit more effective.
Another breaking pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Frank Osiak. Coach over third base for the Pirates. He's been busy today. So is Don Leppert, the coach at first. Oh, look out. Fastball in on him. 2-2 to Al Oliver with Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell to follow. Fastball hit the other way. There's Menke at third base, throwing on. Perez has it at first. There's 1 out on the Pirate third. Very few pitches that I have seen Al Oliver hit that he has not hit hard somewhere. Here is Clemente, who did not like the called strike 3. With the man at third base and not out back in the first, and had to take a seat. Pirates lead it by 2. Fastball for a strike. Now, correct me, Sandy. I said fastball, but that slider had me fooled when you called it a slider because he does throw both of them that hard.
Well, I would think that Don Gullett is going to probably just throw Roberto the fastball and try and make him hit the fastball, try and keep the ball in the ballpark. But that right there was, again, the slider, and I don't see that much velocity difference between the slider and the fastball. Just the fact that the slider will break in a little bit to the right-hand hitter, and the fastball will probably move away a little bit from the right-hand hitter.
2-1 now to Clemente.
But as far as velocity is concerned, they're very close. I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw a slider that hard.
Even harder than Woody Fryman of Detroit. There's another strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Clemente. And again, as they did back in the first, they're playing Clemente to hit to right. Tolan is over and makes another catch. Now the defense is going to make a difference. They've seen a couple of dandy defensive plays, one by Rose and now the other by Bobby Tolan.
I think Bobby made a good play on that. That ball was curving away from him and fooled him a little bit. And here he gets to the ball. He's still on his feet when he gets to the ball, and nevertheless a fine catch. I don't think as good as the one Rose made. Pete had to leave his feet, but a fine catch by the center fielder.
Here is Stargell. We said how he was 4 for 44 over the season. He probably ripped a double. This one he hits to center field. Tolan is back, but not too far. Straightaway center. Now it's fooled him a little bit, so it goes back nearly 400 feet away. Gullett has another 1, 2, 3 innings. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. We've gone through 3 full innings of Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. And the Pirates lead the Reds 3-1.
No matter whose steel-belted radio commercial you see, it'll probably be a demonstration of superior handling characteristics. They'll tell you how steel-belted radials make so great a difference you can actually feel it. Feel how they hug the road on sharp turns and at high speeds. So with everybody telling you similar things, which brand you buy? Well, only Uniroyal can tell you this. Worldwide, we've been selling steel-belted radials 10 years longer than any other American tire company.
Children, will you behave? No headache is going to make me spoil their fun.
When headache pain and the tension it can build bring out the worst in you, take Anacin. Watch. Anacin starts with as much pain reliever as the leading aspirin tablet, then adds an extra core of this specific ingredient against pain. Her headache's gone, and so's its tension.
Anacin did it again.
Anacin relieves headache pain, and so its tension. Anacin.
Tell by looking, it is not that warm here today. People have bundled up pretty good. This game has been a sellout now for weeks, and they were to have put 1,000 standing room only tickets on sale, but we do notice some empty seats, and it's obviously due to the fact that some people who live out in the hinterlands, when they saw it raining so much and so cold today, just decided to stay home. But the tickets are all sold. Here's Johnny Bench. It's a slow off-speed pitch, low and away from Steve Blass. Last time Bench sent Oliver very deep in center field. Pirates lead this one 3-1 as we begin the fourth. Drive. Stennett there, and has the line drive of Bench.
Jim, it's a good day going for you when you make a mistake and get away with it. You could see Manny Sanguillen there give his target low and outside to Johnny Bench, and Blass missed with the slider, got it up and over the plate, and Bench hit it hard, hit a line drive to left field, but right at the left fielder.
Donnie Perez swung at the first pitch of the second inning and singled left field, and then just stayed right there at first base. The next three men went down in order. Fastball catches the inside corner. Strike one. Change up curve out to right field where Clemente says he has it. Basket catch again for Roberto.
Good chance to watch this again in slow motion. In slow motion, it looks like the easiest thing in the world, like somebody just tossed you the morning paper or something.
There's Dennis Menke. Wide to Oliver in center. It's only other time up. Ball one. All the scoring came in a very wild first inning. It's got their one run, and the Pirates roared back with 3. 2-0 now to Menke. That's a strike at the knee. Very fast worker.
Jim, watching Blass earlier in the ball game, he didn't look like he was quite sure of himself, but he's a great competitor. Steve is always out there trying, he'll fight you, and likes these big ball games, and you can just sort of see him coming back now. He looks like he's a little bit more sure of himself, his control coming back. He's getting that changeup over, getting easy outs with it, and that helps the pitcher.
Into the hole goes Alley, can't get it. Menke's got a base hit. Fourth base hit off Steve Blass. And with 2 out, Geronimo, who popped up to Alley in the second inning, is up for the second time. Very cloudy, very cool day. Game 2 here tomorrow. And by the way, the weather tomorrow is supposed to be absolutely perfect, sunny, middle 60s. Then they'll move on to Cincinnati. Outside to Geronimo. Ball one. Line drive. Looked like it went off the umpire, and he calls it foul. That's Ken Burkhardt down there. And he was in the big battle down at the home plate in Cincinnati a couple of years ago.
Jim, I hate to say it, but I think he's going to be in trouble here again. Kenny dove inside the baseline to get out of the way, and the ball hit him. And he was, lying on the ground inside the baseline. So I think Kenny might be in a lot of trouble calling that ball fair or foul. I think the ball is dead when it hits the umpire. And it may be that Sparky's asking for an appeal from the home plate umpire to tell him. Now, I think you can see the umpire there inside the foul line when he gets hit.
Well, remember the big play at home plate that went against the Reds. Now Sparky's been thrown out. He's going to appeal to Augie Donatelli. Remember, down in Cincinnati, the play at home plate. Papers later showed that Burkhardt had his back to the play, and there are all kinds of ramifications, but some of the Cincinnati newspapers called that the Burkhardt game. Now here's Ken again in Cincinnati in championship play, with the man on first and running on a ball that could have been a double down the line, but it hit him. It is not a double. It is not a base hit. He has called it foul.
Now, I think the ball would have gone foul if it hadn't hit the umpire. But it looked to me like Burkhardt, and it looked in the replay like Burkhardt was standing in fair territory when he was hit.
Well, let's look at it again as Anderson continues his argument.
The way Sparky's holding his finger up, I think he just wants to tell him one thing. And here we get a chance to see it again. And it's really very hard to tell, as far as I'm concerned, whether he was straddling the line or inside. When you look at it again, he was falling in. But he was probably, at the time it hit him, straddling the line. I don't know what the rules would say, whether he's fair territory. If we could see it and stop it, it looks like he's straddling the line from the picture, but he's falling in toward fair territory.
Another one of those judgment plays, and Sandy, how unusual it is for an umpire, one umpire, to be involved with the same team and the same kind of play, in that his back was to the play, as it was in the play in 1970 in Cincinnati. He was falling in, and the ball hit him in the back and went the other way.
Jim, I don't know if it's unusual. Once you've had a little trouble with something or somebody, trouble seems to have a way of looking for you and finding you.
Well, fact remains, it is 1 ball, 1 strike. That is the ruling. It looked as though Anderson was thumbed out by Burkhardt. We'll check on that.
Jim, I think he was definitely thumbed out. There's no doubt about that. It's just a question of how much damage he did when he stayed around after he was thrown out.
2 outs. Menke still at first base.
Jim, as you say, a very big play. If that ball had gone down in the corner, there's a possibility that run might have scored from first.
Instead, it's a pop-up to Dave Cash, and look out, Alley steps in front of him. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and the big disputed inning of the 1972 National League Championships. We go to the last of the 4th, and it's the Pirates who still lead 3-1.
In a minute, Susan.
Jim, your hair looks like it's still on the beach. It needs to bounce, Jim. Looks alive and natural, Jim.
Jimmy?
Ask Jim.
Your kids are scrapping and the dog is yapping and the house is falling down. And it ain't no joke when the TV's broke and the car don't work. Well, life can be so low down. It's time to ease back. Light up. Let TA Tobacco lighten up your day. It's all so easy. Naturally. TA Tobacco lightens up your day.
It'll be Sanguillen, Hebner, and Cash in the Pirate 4th. But first, let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WRGB Schenectady, where Bob McNamara brings you sports weeknights at 6 and 11.
Manny Sanguillen grounded to Morgan at second base. He's only at the time up. Free swinging, likable, fine catcher. And as Sandy pointed out, the Red scouting reports say that Manny has hurt his arm. Pirates 3, Reds 1, last of the 4th. Down low, ball 1. Danny Murtaugh took the team to the playoffs the last 2 years in the championship, and his successor, Bill Burden. First year as full-time manager. This ball is foul. Interesting conversation the other day involving Lou Brock, a premier base stealer of the St. Louis Cardinals, and he was asked, who's the better man who would you rather run against, the arm of Johnny Bench or the arm of Manny Sanguillen? He said, I have less success against Sanguillen, but that's because the Pittsburgh pitchers do a better job of keeping me close to first base. I wouldn't want to choose between the arms of Sanguillen and Bench, but I get a better jump on the Cincinnati pitching staff. balls, 1 strike. Center field. Tolan starts back. 1 out and the Pirate 4.
Well, I think when it comes to stealing bases, in the final analysis, that's all that counts. I don't think anybody really steals on the catcher. It's always on the pitcher. Most big league catchers' arms are strong enough. The important thing is accuracy. If the pitcher can hold them close enough and you get the ball and make a good throw, I don't think anybody can beat it. But it's up to the pitcher to keep the man from running.
Hebner singled first time up, fouls this one off. Each team has 4 hits, but the Pirates lead it by 2. Inside of the open stance, Hebner. Speaking of bad arms, Dean Klein's a 300-plus hitter. He is active, but he's got a bad arm. This is Perez, and he's going to beat Hebner to the bag for the 2nd out in the Pirate 4.
A good play on the decision to take it himself by Tony Perez. There's never any trouble that can happen to you if you run to the bag and tag it. If you put it in the air, well, possibly the pitcher might drop it. Something could happen. But anytime you can take it yourself, that's the better play.
Dave Cash fly to center, his only other time up. Dave missed 11 of the 12 games with Cincinnati this season because of Marine Reserve duty. It seemed as though every time they're playing the Reds, Cash was in the Marine Reserves. He also missed some time with a broken thumb and played in only 99 games. Strike 1 pitch is too low. 1-1. That got the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Augie Donatelli behind the plate. Burkhart, you know, is at first. Doug Harvey at second. Billy Williams at third. John Kibler down the left field line. And Harry Wendelstadt down the right field line. 2-2. Right field. Geronimo there, and he has it. And now, the last 10 men in a row have gone down before Don Gullett. No runs, hits, or errors, and none left. At the end of 4, it's the Pirates who still lead the Reds 3-1. All scoring in the first inning.
Hi, Hank. Shaving close for your big close-up, huh?
Yep.
Well, don't cut yourself.
Sam, I don't have to cut myself to shave close. This is the Track 2, the 2-bladed razor from Gillette. The blades are recessed, so it's safer.
Recessed? Then how come it shaves so close?
Because when the first blade shaves your whisker, it stretches it out from the skin. And before it can snap all the way back, the second blade can shave it again, closer.
What if I went back again with my 1-blade razor?
The whisker snaps back too fast.
Gee, that's a great shave.
And that's not even my good side.
The Gillette Track 2, the 2-bladed razor.
Sports fans, here's a great offer from Gillette. Gillette will give you a 6-month gift subscription to Sport Magazine when you buy the Track 2 razor, Track 2 blades, or Platinum Plus blades. Just look for this special store display.
The Cincinnati 5th. And our first game of our afternoon of baseball here on NBC. Darrell Cheney, Don Gullett, and then back to the top of the batting order. Jim Simpson with Sandy Koufax. Pirates lead it here 3-1, and here is a ground ball foul off the bat of Cheney, who flied to left back in the second. Cheney, a year ago, spent most of the year with Indianapolis, took over the job at shortstop this year. This will be a chance for Cash. Cheney showing pretty good speed, is thrown out. Don Gullett, the pitcher who singled last time up. And if there was any doubt after that big wave given by first base umpire Ken Burkhart, Sparky Anderson is out. And Alex Ramos is now the manager of the Cincinnati Reds for the rest of this ball game. Hit off the fist foul. And if the rotation goes as normal, and I'm sure it will, that means that Ken Burkhart will be behind the plate tomorrow in Game 2. Changed up, popped up. Stargell chasing down Gullett's high pop-up, and they're 2 out in the Cincinnati fifth. Bring up Pete Rose. He has flied to left, and Oliver charged way over into left field, nearly out of the left center field position, almost into dead left to take his last drive back in the 3rd inning. Well, Pete is 0 for 2. Did make that fine catch out in left field, a diving catch. They robbed Steve Blass of a base hit. It's ball 1. Now to the leadoff man, Pete Rose. Two balls, 1 strike. He said Pete has just completed his 8th regular season of play, hitting better than .300. Demonstrated more power. This one is off the glove of Hebner, which makes it a fair ball. Into the corner goes Stennett. Rose hustling all the way, charges into second base, and is there safe. Double.
I think possibly with less than 2 out, Pete might not have tried for the double. Stennett made a very good play in left field, got the ball quickly and made a fine throw. It's a little dangerous when you're down by 2 runs, but with 2 out, Pete trying to get himself into scoring position for Joe Morgan. A head-first slide, and he just did beat the play. A fine play out in left field by Stennett. Well, Pete's been on his stomach all day. I guess that dirt will dry out that wet uniform now.
Morgan hit a home run. That's the only run the Reds have until now, and then was fooled on a change and flied to short right field last time up. 1 for 2, but has a chance to make this a closer game with a base hit. But he's popped it up to right field, and Clemente charges in, is there in plenty of time, and has the basket catch. Rose had already rounded third base. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and Rose left on the bases. We go to the last of the 5th. The score remains Pirates 3, Reds 1.
Chrysler has always been an automobile with a tradition of performance on the open road. It was an automobile that introduced a revolutionary high-compression engine. It was an automobile that successfully faced the challenge of Le Mans. It was an automobile that in 36 months saw victory in 56 Grand National competitions. Today, the tradition continues with one of the most advanced electronic ignition systems in the world. And with this Chrysler, it's an automobile more people can afford. The 1973 Chrysler Newport.
Chrysler Newport. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
What we are seeing here this afternoon will determine, in part, who will start that 1972 World Series next Saturday afternoon. Regardless of Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, Oakland or Detroit, they'll open in the National League City, and at 12:30 Eastern Time, NBC will be on the air with all of the games. And remember, we could have as many as 3 night games of the World Series this year. 3-1 the score, Pirates. We are in the last of the 5th. Alley, Blass, and Stennett due to face young Don Gullett. This drive is foul. Gullett got into all of his trouble in the first inning. Leadoff single to Stennett. Oliver followed with a triple after Clemente was called out on strike. Stargell doubled in another run and then was singled in by Hebner. The only Reds run, Morgan's home run. Since that trouble in the first inning, Gullett has retired 10 men in a row.
Jim, I know he's retired those 10 in a row, but I would think that only in the last inning did he look like he was fooling anybody, getting the breaking pitch over and doing a good job. In those other innings, he threw up some line drives, and Pete Rose a great play, Bobby Tolan a great play to keep him out of trouble. But last inning, it looked like he was pitching well, effective, and getting his off-speed breaking ball over. Now it's a question is, can Cincinnati come back and get the Steve Blass?
1-2 now to Alley. This is right field. Geronimo. It's 11 in a row for young Don Gully. That'll bring up Steve Glass. Not only has he pitched well as he gets a hand, but as we said, Pete Rose robbed him of a base hit with a diving catch in the second. Fastball is fouled out of play. That's 2 strikes. Just occurred to me, Sandy, man's watching our telecast today probably that I never thought would. Sparky Anderson, the manager who was thrown out. That is the second strikeout recorded by Gullett. Blass has struck out nobody. Rennie Stennett singled and scored in the first, grounded to Cheney in the second. Off that one. Back goes Menke. Past him. Looked like a chip shot to the green.
Stennett just hit that ball right square down into the ground, and Menke just didn't look like he knew what to do with it. All of a sudden, he looked like he took one step in, and all of a sudden it went back over his head. Just one great big hop. It may have hit the front of the plate, and that's what caused it to take the big hop and go out toward third.
Oliver picks on a change up. There it goes. Right field. Geronimo looks up. Oh! It's 5-1.
Jim, if we get a chance to see that again, you'll see a classic mistake by a pitcher. A slow curveball from Don Gullett to the left-hander, Al Oliver, an off-speed pitch. He was trying to get over. Oliver, a good fastball hitter, but it looked like the curveball was way up high in his eyes, and that's just not a good place to throw the breaking ball, and Oliver jumped all over it. A fine hitter.
5-1 the score. Pirates lead it. And here is Roberto Clemente. Looked at a third call strike in the first. Tolan made a fine diving, falling catch in the third. Pedro Bourbon has begun to warm up again. Second time he's been up for the Reds. Thus far, it has not been Cincinnati's day. Foul back. The play involving Ken Burkhart at first base. The little grounder, that would have been the third out. Menke didn't know what to do with it. Oliver then picking on the next in-the-eyes change-up curve of Gullett to make it instead of 3-1, 5-1.
Jim, and that just might be the ball game right there. That's a real big blow, that 4-run lead.
And there's Cheney throwing out Clemente, who is 0 for 3, but they pick up 2 runs on 2 base hits, including the home run by Oliver. No errors, none left, now through 5 innings. The Pittsburgh Pirates 5, the Cincinnati Reds 1.
This is the bed great-grandfather built before he went off to the Civil War. Used a big maple tree that grew on his place. No nails, hickory pegs. His oldest son took it out to Dakota, homesteading. That's where your dad was born, in the same bed. Wouldn't you like to know that the people who move it know how you feel about it? Allied Van Lines. We move families, not just furniture.
The minute you walked in the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender.
I just spent $200,000 for a new house for my best girl.
Have a mural, son, but don't get the ashes on the rug.
Hey, big spender, why not spend some time with me?
Get the big Muriel taste with Magnums, Coronas, or Senators.
As Steve Blass with a 4-run lead warms up, we pause for station identification.
Richard Boone as Heck Ramsey on a special 2-hour premiere tomorrow night at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time.
This is the famous Mayflower Pub in London. Some sailors had a few pints here before setting sail for America. Now listen to one of today's Englishmen talk about his favorite beer.
I was in America too for undergraduate university in Ithaca, New York. That's where I discovered Genesee beer, and it was outstanding. Genesee is a particularly fine beer.
Genesee. When you can't get cold-aged Genesee, you're missing the best beer there is. People the world over agree it's the best from the beer makers.
Tales of Terror, Sundays at 10:30 p.m.
Back in Pittsburgh, Jim Simpson with Sandy Koufax. Who blast to pitch to the heart of the Cincinnati lineup. Bobby Tolan, Johnny Bench, and Tony Perez as we start the 6th. 5-1, the Pirates.
Jim, and it's going to be tough for Cincinnati to get him back now. Glass has been around long enough. He knows what he has to do. He'll try and get that leadoff man getting on base. He knows the Reds aren't going to run anymore. They're 4 runs down, and that 4 runs, boy, it makes you feel great out there on the mound. You know, no matter what you do, you'll never have to pitch to the winning run.
As long as you have the 4-run lead. 2-0. Johnny Bench has hit the ball far and hard today, and he's 0 for 2. Both were caught. Tolan has a base hit. Base hit number 6 off Glass, and here comes Bench. Last time up, Bench got a slider up in his eyes and drove it sharply to Rennie Stennett, who caught the line drive on the dead run going toward the left field line. First time up, he backed Oliver to the warning track. 40 home runs, 11 in the month of September. 125 RBIs, led the majors in both departments. Breaking pitch low and away. Ball 1 to Bench.
Bench, a real streak hitter, 11 home runs in September, as you said. I would think that of his 40, he probably hit at least between 20 and 25 in 2 months. 11 in September, and I believe it was July that he had the very hot month, and probably hit that many or more.
That change just missed. Wow. 2 balls, 1 strike. Up to 3-1 to Bench in this 5-1 ball game, which the Pirates lead. Van Ging, well, there's another story about the depth of the Pittsburgh Pirates, if we can talk about them for the moment. Talk about where to put Rennie Stennett, where to put Manny Sanguillen, a fine catcher, but they have a youngster by the name of Milt May, who's a 21-year-old, 22-year-old on the bench, and he'd be starting most other places. 3-1 now to Bench. None out. Tolan won't be going. That's ball 4. That's the first walk of the ball game.
May might be starting in most other places, Jim, but he won't start in Pittsburgh or Cincinnati.
Here's Perez. Singled and was fooled on a changeup curve and fly to right.
And Bill Burton coming out to the mound now. I think he wants to talk to Steve. I don't think it's a question of whether or not he's going to take him out. I think he's going to try and get an honest answer from his pitcher whether he's all right. I think if there was something wrong, the pitching coach might come out to see him. But in this kind of situation, the manager is the man responsible, and he wants an honest answer. And I guess Bill is happy with the answer he got, although he is starting some action in the bullpen.
Bob Johnson and Luke Walker again up and throwing as we give you this program note. This week's edition of NBC Reports studies the lifestyle of the Tasaday, the Stone Age tribe of the Philippines. Tuesday night at 10, 9 Central Time, right here on NBC. Perez 1 for 2, has 2 base runners on in this 5-1 game, which Pittsburgh leads. None out in the Cincinnati 6th. Perez with great power, 21 home runs, 90 RBIs, a big, free swinging right-hander. Struck out 121 times. Inside to it. 1-0. Tom Hall has now begun to warm up for Cincinnati. Concepcion is alongside of him, shortstop. If they get something going, they may bat for change. Who knows? This is fouled up and out of play. Stargell gives up on the ball as it rides back in the seats. Tolan goes back to second. Bench goes back to first. 1 ball, 1 strike to Perez. Change up, center field, driving Oliver back. Looks like he is there in time and has it, and Bench again has hit a long drive, but a long out. Going on to third base is Tolan after the catch. Perez, beg your pardon. Bench stays at first base, of course. Well, Tolan got a base hit to right. Blas lost Bench on a 3-1 count and walked him. Perez teed off, but no place he could have hit it that had more room than the dead center field. Here's Menke. Pirates lead it 5-1. This one is hit off the fist. Back goes Alley. In comes Stennett. Alley says he has it, and does. Bluffing going down the line is Tolan. Now he'll walk back.
This is a big inning for Steve Blas. Cincinnati needs these runs. You're down 4. You got to pick up what you can when you can. And Steve had a momentary lapse. He walked Bench, put 2 men on in a situation with nobody out, and he got Perez on the line drive to center. And right there with the runner at third, he got the little pop fly to keep him from scoring. And he's got to really bear down now and get Geronimo and get out of this inning. But so far, he's done a great job.
Geronimo has popped out twice, but remember, with 2 out and Menke on at first, it was Geronimo's line drive that hit umpire Ken Burkhardt, who promptly called it foul. Center field, Oliver there, and a superb job by Steve Blas. Tolan got a base hit, Bench walked, he got Perez, Menke, and now Geronimo. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, and 2 men are left on base. In the middle of the 6th, it's 5-1 Pittsburgh.
If you're using a regular grade gasoline, when you're pulling a load, your car knocks and pings, so you slow down and lose power. Or, if you're using a regular grade gasoline and your car starts all right, but then when you stop and shift gears, stalls out sometimes, try Super Regular from Shell. Shell combined high-octane components of a super gasoline with the good drivability components of a modern regular. Result? Shell Super Regular. Designed to give you more octane and better protection against engine knock than the average or ordinary regular, and to help prevent annoying stallouts. Step up to Shell's low-lead Super Regular. You may never settle for ordinary regular again.
Shell products perform.
6 of the Pittsburgh Pirates have reached base. 5 of the 6 have scored. The Cincinnati Reds have left 6 men on base, and the man who did score their only run was Morgan's home run in the first inning. It'll be Stargell, Sanguillen, and Hebner. Gullett still in there for the Reds.
Jim, I wonder if the way the Pirates have hit the left-hander, Don Gullett, today might affect who starts for Cincinnati tomorrow. Sparky Anderson didn't want to announce his starting pitcher, waiting to see what happened. He had the left-hander Grimsley or the right-hander Billingham. And I just don't know what Sparky's going to decide now.
Breaking pitch, strike 1 to Stargell. Stargell doubled. Drove in a run, later scored in the first inning, and in the third inning sent Tolan very deep. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pedro Bourbon is again up and throwing. He has been doing much of the throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. Tom Hall has a brief warm-up. That's a strike. Augie Donatelli telling Stargell, yes, you did go around on the pitch. Now, that's another strike because it hit the bat of Stargell. Pirates got 3 in the first with the aid of a triple and a double. 2 more in the 5th on Al Oliver's home run. That familiar windmill motion. Strikes out. Third strikeout for Gullett. Here's Sanguillen, who is 0 for 2. Grounded out and fly to center. Pirates have that rather comfortable 4-run lead with the bottom of the batting order due up in the Cincinnati 7th. 2 big hops to Morgan at second base. Morgan throws on to Perez. 2 out. And Richie Hebner, single to right and grounded to Perez at first base. It's a change, and this is a chance for Perez, and it's a 1-2-3 easy inning as Gullett easily gets the 4, 5, 6 batters of the Pirate lineup. But he's down by 4. We've now gone through 6 innings here at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, and there's the score. Pittsburgh 5 and Cincinnati 1.
I'm getting some pretty tough scrapes with my shave. That's why I like the skin conditioner in Aqua Velva. Right, sweetheart?
You're always right.
Don't you forget it. Aqua Velva does a lot more than just smell nice. It cools and refreshes and smooths my face. Right, sweetheart?
You're always right.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Aqua Velva. It does a lot more than just smell nice.
Right, sweetheart?
It's more than just a dinner. It's a picnic in the park. It's a lunch and it's a party. It's a great snack after dark. Oh, so take along Kentucky Fried Chicken. See the Colonel, yes you should. America loves what the Colonel cooks. Anytime, any place, it's finger licking good.
7th inning of this game, in which the Pirates lead 5-1, and that game is coming up immediately after this one. Detroit at Oakland as they start the American League Championship playoffs. Darrell Cheney 0 for 2. They'll lead it off in the 7th inning for Cincinnati, and Ted Eulander is out on deck, and so obviously Don Gullett is all through for the day. Gains to Cheney, misses. Gullett worked 6 innings, gave up 5 runs, 6 base hits, struck out 3, walked nobody. That's 2-0 to Cheney. That is Ted Eulander, former Minnesota Twin, former Cleveland Indian. There's the strike, 2-1. Center field, Oliver hustling, but now says he's there in plenty of time, and that's the first out. Eulander, left-handed hitter, who will take a lot of time digging in at home plate. He normally does. Kind of makes himself a little spot there to plant that left foot. At 159 this year, no home runs, 6 RBIs, and only appeared in 73 games, throwing about 113 times. Strike 1. Pedro Bourbon continues to throw and apparently will be the pitcher to replace Gullett. Pirates 5, Reds 1. Cincinnati 7. It's 1-1 now to Eulander. 2-1, and Sanguillen wants a conference.
I think Manny just going to go out and tell Blass what Blass already knows. Throw strikes, get the ball over. Got the 4-run lead. Don't walk anybody, make them hit the ball. There's not much else you can tell a pitcher in that situation, and Steve Blass knows it as well as anybody. Maybe he just got a little too fast, a little too quick, just trying to get good stuff on the ball and not really concentrating.
Reds have had a runner and a base hit in every inning, and this inning is no exception. 7th hit off Blass. Yeah, we told you what Sparky Anderson said. If you find 5 hits among our top 3 men, Rose, Morgan, and Tolan, normally we're doing all right. We should be out in front. There have been 3 base hits, a double by Rose, a home run by Morgan for the Reds' only run, and a single last time up for Tolan. And they're down 5-1. Rose is 1 for 3. His double went off the glove of Hebner, leaping for it at third base. Ball 1.
I think Sparky might have added, and we're getting good pitching to that. It's a little tough when you're 5 runs, when you've given up 5 runs. 5 runs are not easy to get back, especially against a pitcher the quality of Steve Blass.
One ball, 1 strike. College football continues. Harvard out in front of Boston University, 24-0 in the first quarter. West Virginia 7, William and Mary nothing first quarter. Popped up, left side. Stennett's just riveted there. Now takes a step or 2 and has it. 2 out. Nylander goes back to first. That'll bring up Joe Morgan. Since he homered in the first, he has twice flied to short right fielder Clemente. Ramon Hernandez and Bob Miller now become the Pirates in the bullpen. Pirates lead it by 4. This, of course, is the best 3 out of 5 series, the championship playoffs, for determining who goes on to the World Series, which is the best 4 out of 7. Ball 1. This is the 4th year for the playoffs, and only in last year's Pirate Giant playoff did any of them in either league go more than the minimum 3 games. Two 2-0 now to Morgan. That is Bobby Tolan on deck. Strike at the knee.
One thing that Blass has been very good about all through the years, home runs. He isn't the kind of pitcher who throws a lot of home run balls. In 250 innings, approximately, he only threw 18 home runs, so that's a pretty good percentage. And if you can stay away from the long ball, especially with a lead, it's going to be awfully tough to catch you.
And it has been the off-speed pitches that have gotten Joe Morgan the last time, and the last 2 pitches for strikes have been off-speed pitches that have fooled Morgan.
Jim Steve's come up with this slow curve this year, and it's helped him quite a bit. He tried for many years, I guess, to throw the straight change, didn't have very good luck with it. Now this slow one.
That's 3 in a row. This one misses. And it's 3-2, and with 2 out, Nylander will be off and galloping. See what he throws him on. A 3-2 pitch. Tolan on deck. 2 out after 3 straight change curves. Ball 4. The second walk. What was that? A slider, Sandy?
I think so, Jim. I believe the slider got away from there. It was up outside.
Here's Tolan. Hit the ball twice very hard. Oliver made a fine catch on him in the first inning of his line drive, fly to left in the third, and singled last time up. The Reds have had all kinds of base runners, but only have one run.
I think in every ball game that a pitcher pitches, there's possibly 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 outs that he must get. And you never know when they're going to come up, but for Steve Blass right now, this is one of them. He's got to get Bobby Tolan. You don't want a man who's hit 40 home runs during the year who's on deck now, Johnny Bench, to be the tying run in the ball game. You'd like him to lead off next inning with nobody on.
Low, and Sanguillen blocks it, keeps it in front of him. That's ball 1. Nylander down at second base and Joe Morgan on at first base with 2 out in the 7th of a 5-1 ball game, and another golden opportunity for the Reds. That's a strike. And again, Blass took something off that pitch. His off-speed pitches these last 2 batters. Morgan and now Tolan. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another one, and that's fouled past Alex Grammas, third base coach and acting manager of the Reds. Sparky Anderson was ejected back in the 4th inning. One and 2 now to Tolan. Fastball. Look out. Blass has to get there and has him. Both Stargell and Cash went for it. Blass a little late, but did get there. A very important out.
Here we see it again. It's a good play by second baseman Dave Cash. As the ball hit him in the chest, he managed to keep control of it. Made a good throw to Blass covering to get Tolan by a couple of steps.
Tolan, one of the faster men in the league. Again, they leave men on base. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the last of the 7th, and the Pirates lead Cincinnati in this first game of the playoffs 5-1.
Introducing the Roughnecks. Shaving leaves their necks rough and irritated, but now for the Roughnecks, a special kind of Gillette Foamy. Face Saver, with 25% more lubricants for better protection against shaving irritation. Face Saver looks different, feels different. Feel the way your razor glides over even the most sensitive part of your face, your neck. So if shaving irritates your neck, get Foamy Face Saver for the Roughnecks.
Jim Gibbs, Wethead. Jim Gibbs, the Dry Look. Bill Riley, Wethead. Bill Riley, the Dry Look. Bob Schneider, Wethead. Bob Schneider, the Dry Look.
Here's more evidence of why the Wethead is dead. More men all over the country discovering the Dry Look from Gillette. #1 aerosol hair control. Adjustable valve, sprays as light as you like.
Dennis McIntyre, Wethead. Dennis McIntyre, the Dry Look.
The Dry Look from Gillette.
Dave Cash, Gene Alley, and Steve Blass to face Pedro Bourbon, who has relieved Gullett.
Jim Bourbon is a sinker-slider type of relief pitcher. He throws, if not underhand, extreme sidearm. I wouldn't think that he throws as far from the side as, maybe Ted Abernathy, who's really underhand, but he's the kind of fellow who, to the right-hand hitters, will drop down. On that warm-up pitch, he wasn't down as much as he can be. Really come from third base and throw the sidearm fastball a lot of times.
Fastball catches the outside corner at the knees to Cash, who's 0 for 2. Strike 1. Ground ball, 2 big hops to Joe Morgan. Goes on to Perez, and Cash legging it all the way is just out. Dave Justy, there's a familiar name for you, has begun to warm up in the Pirate bullpen just in case. The Reds have one more hit than the Pirates, but the Pirates have 4 more runs. Here is Gene Alley, who is 0 for 2. Down ball, another chant for Morgan, and he throws out Alley. In pointing out that the Reds have more hits and fewer runs, throughout the year, the Pirates had more hits than anybody, with their .274 team batting average, but the Reds scored more runs. And for Steve Blass, 0 for 2, robbed by Rose, pitching a good ball game. He has always had men on base, but with the exception of Morgan's home run with none on, he has not been touched. Right. Bob Moose for the Pirates tomorrow. The Reds to name their starter after today's game. Ground ball, Cheney at shortstop. And Bourbon does quite a job. 3 ground balls, no runs, no hits, no errors. And now we've gone through 7 full innings. We move to the top of the 8th, with the Pirates leading the Reds 5-1.
I still get a kick out of washing my own car. It makes me feel good when my car looks good. STP double power gas treatment can make a car run as good as it looks. It helps clean the carburetor and the fuel system, and it helps keep your engine in tune while you drive. Get power to clean with power to burn. Add a can of STP double power gas treatment. Take my advice. Gentlemen, clean your engines. You'll really feel the difference.
Simpson!
I haven't had the time.
Man, you know, you are a menace to society.
At Midas, usually we take only 30 minutes to install a muffler. So why put up with all that noise?
Before Blass faces Bench, Perez, and Menke and the Cincinnati 8th, let's pause for station identification.
Richard Boone as Heck Ramsey on a special 2-hour premiere tomorrow night at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time.
Specters and Hagerslacks have in common? Why, the fact that they make everybody look good, of course. Fashionable Hagerslacks, so comfortable and good-looking, you'll never wear anything else. If size is a problem, come to Specters, where they fit any man or boy. Specters, Metroland's fashion leader, offers you Hagerslacks, a leader in men's fashions. It's a winning combination that makes everybody look good. From Specters, 233 Central Avenue, Walden. Open every night till 9, Saturdays till 6.
Meet 'em all at Mike's, weekdays at 4.
Johnny Bench. He is 0 for 2, plus a walk in the 6th inning. Perez and Menke to follow. Blass working his way now to the heart of the lineup in the 8th inning, leading 5-1. Ball 1 to Bench. Tom Hall has begun to warm up again for Cincinnati. Bench had good luck against the Pirates this year. 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. That's 1-1. Reds scored first on Morgan's home run with 1 out in the first. Have been close, men on base, in every inning since, but haven't scored since. There's that change again. It's down low, 2 balls, 1 strike. Left field, Oliver, Stennett. Stennett takes it with Oliver right there on the warning track. Bench has hit the ball a per piece today, but all 3 have been caught.
It looked like that one was just enough in on the fist to keep it from getting out of the ballpark. Again, I don't think that Blass possibly got the pitch exactly where he wanted to, but it was a good enough pitch to get Johnny Bench from getting the best part of the bat on the ball.
Perez to follow. Tony is 1 for 3. Hit the ball high last time. That's strike 1, driving Oliver deep in center field. Last get out of this, he's got the 7, 8, 9 batters in the 9th inning with a 4-run lead. This is his beginning right here. And as Sandy pointed out, with 2 on and 2 out in the 7th, to get Tolan is really one of the big outs of the entire ball game. 2-1 now to Perez. After this game, Detroit, Mickey Lolich, Oakland, Catfish Hunters, both 20-game winners, the American League Championship start. 2-2. $50,476 here. That is not a Pirate record. They anticipated it. I'm sure this weather kept a lot of people away. Perez goes fishing and strikes out. That's the first strikeout for Blas.
And he made a great pitch right there, Jim. It looked like it was a slider right on the outside corner after having pitched Perez inside most of that sequence, throwing a few off-speed pitches, throwing him inside the fastball. And we see it right here. It looks like he made that good low outside pitch.
Now back to live action. Cheney. Count of 1-0 to him, or rather Menke has a count of 1-0 to him. Menke slide to center, single to left, and popped out. 2-0. If Blas can get through this inning, it will be the first inning after 7 of giving up at least 1 hit in every inning. But the trick has been for Blas is he has only given up 1 hit in every inning. 2 out in the 8th. Pirates lead it 5-1. If this championship series goes 5 games, Blas will pitch again.
Here, the best of 3 out of 5 series like this championship series. What a big game, what a big lift the first one is. If you win that first one, well, you figure all you have to do is play 500 ball for the rest of them. And either of these two clubs, well, they have to think that they can play 500 ball. That's, otherwise they wouldn't be here.
Fouled, it's out of play. It's 2-2. As we said, the Pirates have announced their pitching rotation. Bob Moose tomorrow. Nellie Briles, tough competitor, gets the call on Monday in Cincinnati. Game is needed Tuesday. It'll be Doc Ellis. Game is needed Wednesday. Steve Blass will come back again. 2-2. It all the way, 3-2. The reason for Sparky Anderson's reluctance, or the fact that he's held off the sore shoulder of Gary Nolan, apparently is all right after an abscess tooth was pulled, and just wants to take a look at what happens today. Foul back. That is in and out of our booth. Menke steps out for the moment. That's up high, and Blas has not now given up a base hit, but he has had a base runner in every inning. With 2 out, Menke on at first. Geronimo, who has popped out twice, involved in the disputed call in the 4th inning when his line drive hit first base umpire Ken Burkhart. That led to the suspension from this game for manager Sparky Anderson. Last time up, Geronimo lined sharply to Oliver in center. Left field up high. Oliver and Stennett there. Stennett is there in plenty of time. And he has it. Oh, in the 9th inning, it's going to be the 8-9 batters, and then back to Pete Rose for Steve Blass. No runs, no hits, no errors, and again a man on left on base. We go to the last of the 8th. It's 5-1, Pittsburgh over Cincinnati.
This is Chrysler Plymouth's new styling center. And this is the new 1973 Plymouth Fury. Isn't it beautiful? And part of the beauty of it is the way they put the engine together. In a week's time, 15,000 V8s go through here, and they test every one of them with me. They're called engine function testers, and they have electronic sensors. Nobody else has them. These electronic gizmos find things wrong that people don't find, and they find them before they ever put the engine in the car. That's the kind of thing that makes the 73 Fury run better inside while it looks better outside. Isn't that the kind of car we've all been looking for?
Plymouth Fury. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
Randy Stennett walking toward you to lead off. That's Bill Verdon behind him. The manager has to be pleased. He's not out of the woods yet, but Glass has only got the 9th inning to go. Justy's been down there in the bullpen. Stennett is 2 for 3. Bourbon, the pitcher. Football, Brown 16-10-7, first quarter. Surprise, second quarter, North Carolina State 14, Duke nothing. Second quarter, Maryland 6, Wake Forest nothing. Bourbon got 3 batters on 3 ground balls in the 7th, the only other inning he pitched. Pirates 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors. The Reds, their 1 run, Morgan's home run. 7 hits and no errors. That's a strike. Pittsburgh has left 1 man on base. The Reds have left 9 men on base. The offer to Morgan. Throws out the speedy Stemmer. That'll bring up Al Oliver, who is 2 for 3 today. He has tripled in a run and then scored and driven in 2 more with a home run. So he has driven in 3 and scored twice himself.
Any further questions? I think that's the reason Sparky Anderson started the left-hander, to try and get Oliver and Stargell out. I think he was giving in to the fact that probably Clemente was going to get his base hits, but Don Gullett did not get out Al Oliver, and that's the big key in this ball game.
And Clemente doesn't have a base hit. First time Oliver has faced Bourbon. Chance for Morgan. Gonna have to hustle because Oliver can run and hasn't. Sandy, that is 5 consecutive ground balls. Bourbon has retired the 5 in his face.
Jim, I'll be honest, Bourbon does not throw as much sidearm as I thought he did, but I'll have to agree that he's got a good sinker. He's had everybody hit the ball right down into the ground.
Here's Clemente, struck out, lined to Tolan in center, and fell down making a fine catch, and then grounded to Cheney. The great one is 21, and before today's game he got the big plaque because he is one of 11 men that has 3,000 hits in the major league. There's a strike.
He dropped down a little bit sidearm to Clemente, but I don't think it's going to scare Roberto. I think somebody's done that to him before.
Reminds me of Brooksell's blooper pitch. Not quite that much of a blooper, but he just kind of lobs that thing up there.
I tell you, if he had gotten it down lower, I know Roberto had gone slashing at it. Roberto just sort of loves to run up at those pitches.
Back with a pretty quick pitch, but it's down low. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ground ball, another one hit on the ground, and there is Cheney making a fine play. So Bourbon did quite a job in relief. He hopes he gets a chance to pitch again, but I'm sure he'll be batted for in the Cincinnati ninth. No runs, hits, or errors, and Bourbon has retired 6 men, all with hits on the ground. We go to the 9th. Last chance for the Reds. They trail the Pirates 5-1.
Winchester's here, and Winchester's something else.
Something else. Winchester, a whole new taste heading straight your way. It's something else. Winchester.
Winchester, it's a whole nother smoke. New golden taste, new filtered smoothness, mild and light.
Winchester's you. Winchester's something else.
ain't no cigarette.
Winchester something is.
Ain't just another little cigar.
Winchester something is.
It's a whole nother smoke.
Winchester something is.
Bob Robertson has taken over as a defensive replacement at first base. As Steve Blass begins the Cincinnati ninth with a 5-run lead, he's got Cheney, and then a pinch hitter. Looks like it'll be Joe Haig, and then back to Pete Rose. Ball 1 to Cheney. Cheney is 0 for 3. Line out twice and grounded out once. Ball 2. Joe Haig, former Cardinal, leaning on deck. Pirates and Steve Blass is walking around behind the mound. Not the kind of jump they wanted to get. Cincinnati will try to equal things in tomorrow's game here in Pittsburgh. There is a strike. Well, the premier Pirate relievers, Dave Justy and Ramon Hernandez, are both warming up in the Pirate bullpen. Just in case things get out of hand. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There they are. Justy, the right-hander. Ramon Hernandez, the left-hander on the right-hand side of your pitch. Line drive. There's Robertson. Came in for defensive purposes. Made a fine stab at the line drive off the bat of Cheney. And now Joe Haig. 246 with the Reds this year, 243 overall. 7 home runs, 31 RBIs. That's ball 1 to Haig with Pete Rose on deck. This time in this first game begins to sift away for the Reds. Sandy told you, and by the way, we're going to have nearly an hour, barring a comeback by the Reds, before the game begins in Oakland. But we'll be talking with Oakland, with Kurt Gowdy, Tony Quebec, and we'll be talking about the American League Championships and, of course, the heroes of this first National League game. So stay with us. There's a strike. Two and 1. Sandy pointed out, and I'm sure that those of you who follow baseball know, when there's a 4-run lead, you may load the bases and the guy can come to bat, but he is only the tying run. Blass is in a position with a winning run he will never have to face as long as he's got this 4-run lead. All he is trying to do is to get the ball over, let him hit it. Just don't load up those bases and let somebody tie it up. 3 and 1. This is a foul ball. It's 3 and 2. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WRGB Schenectady, where Bob McNamara brings you sports weeknights at 6 and 11.
3-2 count now to Joe Haig with 1 out in the Cincinnati ninth. He missed. And that makes Blass's record intact. He has put at least 1 man on base in every inning. The man that was on base in the first didn't stay there long. It was Joe Morgan just circling the bases with his home run, which is the only run the Reds have. Now there is 1 out, and now the Reds are back to the top of their batting order, and they can look to their pinch hitters of having done a fine job today. Eulander batting for Gullett, single in the 7th. Haig batting for Bourbon, walked in the 9th. Here's Rose. He is 1 for 4, a double. Strike. He also made a great catch, diving catch, lunging into the water in the outfield of a Steve Blass line drive. That's too low. 1 ball, 1 strike. And yes, Justy and Hernandez continue to throw in the Pirate bullpen. Ground ball. Past alley. Haig will stop at second. Oliver's there, and there's no sense in taking chances. They've got 2 men on now, and here's Joe Morgan. Hit number 8 off Steve Blass. Morgan has the home run. Since that time has seen nearly nothing from Blass except change-up breaking pitches, and has been 0 for 2 plus a walk since the first inning home run. This is the very thing that Steve Blass did not want to do, put men on base. He was behind Morgan, told him, if given the chance, bench. Ball 1 to Morgan. The runners down at second. Haig on at first. Rose. That's 2-0. Sanguillen calls for a little time and looks into the dugout to Bill Verdon. And here comes Bill Verdon walking out with a 2-0 count. Well, he's going to go to the bullpen. He's not going to ask Steve Blass this time. He is simply going to go to the bullpen. And Blass in minor trouble in every inning. Nevertheless, has pitched a fine ball game, allowing but 1 run, but he's responsible for the 2 men on. So he will go out having worked 8 1/3 innings, charged thus far with 1 earned run, 8 hits, 1 strikeout, and 4 walks, including 1 in this inning. So there's a break in the action here at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh in the 9th inning with an out. But the Pirates leading the Reds by the score of 5-1.
Introducing a new car that surrounds you with silence. The 1973 Plymouth Satellite. It's a car with new seals and silencers around the windows, doors, roof, and floor. It's a car with a new ride. Smooth, quiet. The 1973 midsize Plymouth Satellite. Built to be seen, not heard.
Plymouth Satellite. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
This is not an endorsement. This is not a commercial. This is a knock. Drugs have no place in sports, even if you don't want to be a major leaguer. Don't gamble with your mind and body by messing around with drugs. To do your best, you need a clear head and a sound body. Know the facts. Say no to drugs.
The preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball. Well, I'm sure that Steve Blass wanted to finish, but he can sit down knowing that his team leads 5-1 with 1 out in the 9th. Morgan, the batter, 2-0. Hernandez, their great left-handed reliever, is on. He has won 5 and lost none this year. Earned run average of 1.67. Has 14 saves. And with a count of 2-0, he will face Joe Morgan. Center field. Oliver chasing it back and is there, taps his glove, and there are 2 outs. Haig races to third. Well, that took him 1 pitch. Bobby Tolenoff with 2 out. Haig at third, Rose at first. Frank Gilbert has handled our statistics this afternoon, our production stage manager, Huey McDermott. Tolan today, 1 for 4. A single in the 6th. Pirates 5, Reds 1. First game of the National League Championship playoffs. That curveball is strike 1. Another curveball, strike 2. And Hernandez comes from almost at first base with that breaking pitch, and Tolan has had difficulty. We have a lot of other batters in the National League. Missed outside. Sanguillen thought he had it. Came in with the fastball, missed just off the corner. Started him out with the 2 curveballs, fooled him completely, then tried to fool him with the fastball, catching the outside corner, but it just missed. Comes in with the curve again, and Tolan just does get a piece of it. Dave Justy continues to throw. After this game, Detroit and Oakland open the American League Championship Series. We'll see Game 2 of that after a football game tomorrow on NBC, and on Monday we have Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Game 3 of this, and Tolan strikes out. It's all over. Hernandez has done the job. Steve Blass is out to grab him. That's Blass. Standing ovation. The Pirates have won the first one. For Pittsburgh, 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors. For the Reds, 1 run, 8 hits, and no errors. Blass the winner, and Don Gullett the loser. And the crowd of 50,476 are absolutely thrilled. This has been a ball game in which the Reds had many opportunities, not able to cash in. And, of course, there was that one play with the score 3-1, with a man on at first, when Geronimo lined the ball and went off the back of first base umpire Burkhart. He called it foul. Manager Sparky Anderson disputed that. He thought it might have been a double, which could have scored the run to make it 3-2. And, of course, Anderson was thrown out of the ball game in his argument with Burkhart. Fact remains, in this best 3 out of 5 series, Pirates have won game number 1. Again, the short score. Pittsburgh, 5 runs, 6 hits, no errors. Cincinnati, 1 run, 8 hits, and no errors. And in a moment, we'll be back, and in a moment, we'll be checking in with Oakland, California, where Detroit's about to play Oakland.
You know, you could get a better shave if your razor had a second blade. Why? Well, when you shave, your whisker is actually stretched out from your skin. But after it's cut, it starts to snap back. Now, if you had a second blade right here, you could shave that whisker again before it all snaps back. So with 2 blades, you'd have a better razor. Our razor, the Gillette Track 2. Gillette made it 1 blade better.
Where is the party of the first part having elected to go and
If you need more than words, you need more than a pen. You need flair. Flair writes feeling. Flair writes ideas. Flair writes colors. Flair writes music. Flair writes emotion. Flair even writes pictures. Man does not live by words alone. Man needs flair. In 12 very human colors.
Well, when we left off postseason play a year ago, it was when the Pirates and Steve Blass won that 7th game of the 1972 World Series. In the first game of the 71 World Series, in the first game of the 72 championship playoffs, the man that Sandy Koufax is going to talk to, same man, Steve Blass, and what a job he did, Sandy.
Thank you very much. Right, Jim. First of all, Steve, you like to pitch from a stretch?
Well, I don't know, Sandy. I think I do now. I've certainly had enough practice at it today.
Steve, it looked like, I'd like to congratulate you first. I thought it was a fine ball game. It looked to me like you were struggling a little bit early in the ball game, and all of a sudden the control came.
Yeah, it came during the middle stages, third, about the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And then I think I was pressing a little bit to try to throw strikes, and I might have been aiming the ball a little bit, pressing just a little bit.
Yeah, I think sometimes you think, well, I've got a 4-run lead, I've got to get the ball over, and it's not as easy as you'd like it to be.
Right, you want to throw all strikes and get it done with, and you start pressing, and it's hard to get it over then.
Let me ask you something. You're a little bit different pitcher out there today than I think the whole country saw last year in the World Series. You changed speeds a lot more. It looked like you went away from your straight change and been using that curve or change-up. Is that something you started this year? Has it been effective for you?
Yeah, I started using it just a little bit occasionally in the World Series last year, and I had good luck with it, so I went ahead and used it all season. It's been a very effective pitch. And in the first inning, when I saw Joe Morgan right on my fastball, I decided that an adjustment was in order. So I started throwing it, and then when I kept getting outs with it, if I have success with one pitch, I'll just ride it to death until somebody starts hurting me with it.
Well, you were sure successful with it. What about Morgan in the first inning? Is he the kind of guy, first ball, fastball hitter, jump on you quick like that?
Well, yeah, what I was trying to do, Sandy, is keep the ball away from his power, and I turned the ball over on purpose to throw a sinker ball and not the straight riding fastball. And he just was out there and got it. It was low around his knees and not over the outside part of the plate. You got to give him credit. He just went out and got the ball. I was amazed. He just got all of it.
He sure did. Let me ask you, we had two big outs, but one later in the ball game. You had to get Bobby Tolan with Johnny Bench on deck, I believe, in the 7th inning. Do you do anything special? Do you realize what a big out that is? You know that if you don't get it, Bench is the tying run.
Exactly. You're very much aware of that, especially with Tolan, because you've got the two bombers coming up next with Bench and Perez, either one of whom can tie the game or put them out in front. So you're very conscious. You're not trying to be fine in that situation either, because you want to make sure you throw a strike. But you got to. I felt that I'd go with a slow curve because that was my best pitch at the time.
Did you find out anything different in this game today that you might tell the rest of the staff, or is everything pretty much, you played them quite a bit during the year? Is it the same ball club that you played all year?
Well, I think basically it is. There's not too much you can change between the regular season and the playoffs, but there's a couple of things I might just tell them overall in theory about pitching. I don't know whether we should talk about it, but just a basic thing.
Well, Steve, again, congratulations. Good luck to you for the rest of the championships, and if it comes to that, well, maybe the World Series. Now, let's go back upstairs to Jim in the booth.
All right, Sandy, again, this is how the game started. You heard Steve Blass describe how he got the ball out and low and away from Morgan, but he jumped all over the fastball in the first inning for the home run. As it turned out, that was the only run that Cincinnati had. Cincinnati left 11 men on base. Ramon Hernandez finished up and saved the win for Steve Blass.
Don Gullett was the starter and loser for the Cincinnati Reds with a 1-0 lead on the home run by Joe Morgan. Stennett singled. Oliver tripled him in. Stargell doubled in Oliver, and Hebner singled in Stargell. In the 5th inning with 2 outs, Stennett got a little Texas League hit, and Al Oliver followed with a home run, and that's all the scoring of the game. Won by the Pirates over the Reds, 5-1. And in a moment, we'll continue to review the action of today's game and talk with more of the stars of the Pirates in Cincinnati.
Five cars, 5 dead batteries. But we're going to start all 5, all at once, with one battery. A 2-year-old Sears Die-Hard battery. The Die-Hard, with extra power to start your car when most batteries won't. It lives up to its name. Sold only at Sears.
This is a dynamometer. Just one of the devices we use here at STP Corporation to test engines and other components, like our STP double oil filter. You know, the 3 leading filters have a single filtering element like this, but now we've added something extra, a filter in a filter for extra protection against harmful sludge and abrasives that can wreck your car's engine. Next oil change, ask for the STP double oil filter, a filter in a filter to double clean your oil.
Jim Simpson with Sandy Koufax back in Pittsburgh. In a few moments, we're going out to Oakland to Kurt Gowdy and Tony Kubek and word about the Tigers and the A's. And in a few moments, Al Oliver, today's hitting star, will be talking with Sandy Koufax. And Al is with Sandy right now.
Thank you, Jim. Al, first of all, congratulations on a fine day. I know that Sparky started the left-hander trying to get you and Willie Stargell out. He was sort of conceding that Roberto was going to get a few hits. You turned that around a little bit. You hit left-handers all the time?
Always have, Sandy. You know, like I have been platooned against left-handers, which I can't see why, but, you know, it's all one of those things. But I'm the type of guy, regardless of who's pitching, I always get my swings in. So, lucky day, I made 2 good contacts, which were key hits, and I'm definitely satisfied.
Well, I think, you know, today you've got to be satisfied, but you may turn that platooning around a little bit with a day like that. First ball game of a short series, 3 out of 5, it's got to be a big one. Does this give your club a big lift now?
Without doubt, Sandy, because anytime you face a ball club as strong as Cincinnati, you know for a fact it's hard to come back when you're behind. And like Cincinnati does have an outstanding ball club power, and they got guys who can run, and, you know, like, we had to get ahead to beat Cincinnati. I know for a fact if Cincinnati went ahead of us like it did in 1970, it's tough to come back. So, fortunate enough, we did get ahead of it. Now, I hope that we can win 2 more in a row. the sooner the better.
Tomorrow, Sparky hasn't made a decision on who's going to pitch. He said it'd either be Grimsley or Billingham, one a left-hander, one a right-hander. Do you have any preference the way you hit the left-hander today? I'm just wondering, maybe you'd rather look at the left-hander.
I tell you, I really don't have no preference, but fortunately this year, I hit a lot higher against left-handed pitching than I did right-handed pitching. But really, I'm the type of guy, when I do have a stroke down, I can care less who's pitching.
You think you're a fastball hitter?
It's really hard to say because I'm not being, I guess not bragging, but I can hit the fastball and the breaking ball. There's really no set pitch that they can constantly get me out on. But normally they try to mix up inside and outside fastballs and sliders. But I'm the type of guy, I don't overswing. I just try to meet the ball. And sometimes I can be a tough out because usually I make contact.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. A good hitter is a good hitter, and today you were just a good hitter. Al, congratulations. Good luck to you the rest of the series. And, well, let's go back upstairs to Jim in the booth.
Couldn't help but think, Sandy, as I listened to Al Oliver, a lot of people say that he's a little braggadocious. As he said himself, I'm not bragging. It's just that Al Oliver's always had the confidence that he could hit, and he wanted to play regularly. Well, Bill Burden put him in, and as he hit this year. We'll be back with more about baseball and a preview of today's Detroit-Oakland game right after we pause for station identification.
Richard Boone as Heck Ramsey on a special 2-hour premiere tomorrow night at 8:30, 7:30 Central Time.
The Livelier Bank presents the Livelier Loan to help you get more out of life. A motorcycle ride, your own business, home improvements, a dude ranch vacation, a swim. The Livelier Loan at the lowest cost in town.
You get more life with the Livelier Bank. Mohawk National Bank.
Stand aside, giant.
I'd not budge if you were the king.
Have at it, then. Fight, giant. Come and join us for an ale.
Those were the lusty ale days. We brought them all back with Miller Ale, brewed from a very special traditional recipe. Take a step backward, try Miller Ale from out of the ale days.
An anjo pear is nice, sliced. Anjo pears, so easy, so good.
Good Talk and Multi-Talent, nightly at 7.
Some of the fans here this afternoon just don't want to leave. They have seen their Pirates win 5-1. So the National League playoff, game 1 is over. The American League playoff, game number 1, is about to begin. For some words about that, let's go to Kurt Gowdy and Tony Koufax in Oakland, California.
Hi, everybody, and while let me get this out of my ear a moment, I've got a feedback. While the fans are filing out of Pittsburgh, they're moving in here to the Oakland Stadium, and what a day for baseball. It's 85 degrees in the Bay Area. Just a gorgeous day. Very few clouds in the sky. And the weatherman said it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. And in this opening game of the American League playoffs, Mickey Lolich, a 22-game winner who pitched the decisive game, one of the two against Boston with 15 strikeouts, will be on the mound for the Detroit Tigers, and going for the homestanding Oakland A's will be their underrated 20-game winner also, Jim Catfish Hunter. Hunter against Lolich. The Oakland A's have been made slight favorites in this opening game, and also for the 3 out of 5 playoff. I guess they figure with a better record during the season, more victories, winning it a little bit easier in their division than the Tigers did, and also a team with much more team speed and sprinkled with youth. However, the veteran Tigers played their best ball when it counted the last 2 weeks of the season, and they expect to have that kind of a momentum, especially swinging the bats coming through for them. Let's get down now to Tony Koufax and get his reaction here as we're about 35, 40 minutes before game time in Oakland. Tony?
Right, Kurt, I hear where you say that the odds makers make the Oakland A's a favorite, and they do have more team ability. Their speed on the base pass is greater, their pitching depth is good, and I think their power is also good. I feel a little differently, however, Kurt, because I feel with the 2 left-handers, Lolich today, Fryman tomorrow, it's going to negate some of that power on the side of the Oakland A's, especially that of Reggie Jackson and, of course, Mike Epstein. To me, the key for this ball club, Oakland, to win is going to have to be Bando and Rudy to hit these left-handed pitchers, rather. These left-handed pitchers also will be able to hold Bert Campaneris and, of course, Matty Alou, the speedsters on the base pass, closer to the bases. I think Detroit's going to win it, but it's going to take them 5 games to do so. It's going to be a real tough championship series. Back upstairs, Kurt.
All right, thanks, Tony. Let's go back to Pittsburgh now to Jim Simpson and Sandy Koufax.
All right, Kurt, with me, of course, Sandy Koufax. Sandy, when we came on the air, you said, as far as you were concerned, it was how Gullett would be able to handle the Pirates today would determine how the Pirates and Reds would do. Gullett did not handle them today.
I think it has made a change in plans. I think Sparky Anderson wanted to go with the left-handers against the Pirates. I think he's counting on the fact that you've got to get Oliver and Stargell out. He didn't do it today. He's changed to the right-hander tomorrow. He may come back with the left-hander on Monday. I know he's named Nolan, but I wouldn't be too sure that that prediction is going to stand up.
The big hero today with the bat was Al Oliver, a triple and a home run. Drove in 3 runs, scored 2 himself. Steve Blass, with relief help and great relief help from Ramon Hernandez, was the winner there. And, of course, tomorrow it will be, as we now know, Bob Moose, the right-hander, against the right-hander Jack Billingham, and then it's on to Cincinnati after tomorrow.
Right.
And, of course, you and I will hook up together on Tuesday in Detroit as Oakland goes out there. So, the final score here is 5-1 with Oliver, the hitting hero, and Blass and Hernandez combining with a fine pitching job. Again, 5-1 Pittsburgh over Cincinnati. This is Jim Simpson along with Sandy Koufax saying so long from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Game 1 for the championship of the National League was brought to you by your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Introducing Plymouth Satellite for 1973. Built to be seen, not heard. And by Gillette, makers of the Gillette Track 2 two-bladed shaving system. And remember, stay tuned following station identification for the second game of our doubleheader. Detroit at Oakland coming to you next, right here on NBC.